Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Baby Talk Tuesday. I'm Cara Wright, and this is basically a platform where we talk about all things pregnancy, birth, baby communication related. So, welcome if this is your first time at Baby Talk Tuesday. If it's something that you love, if you're someone who works with women who are in this frankly amazing time of their life. I know it's not amazing necessarily every 10 seconds for all women, but it is a very amazing experience. But if you're a woman who is indeed in that time, will be like if you know you're going to be having children, if you're someone who works with pregnant women, if you're someone who works with birth, I do have a group called Baby Talk with Cara Wright on Facebook. You're welcome to pop over and ask to join. And there's a million different baby talks that I've done. A while back, I made a commitment to this um, really energy that started knocking on my door, wanting to be in the world. Um, that Baby Talk is, and to that I would always do Baby Talk Tuesday, even if I forgot it was Tuesday, or if Tuesday, went by and I was like, crap, I didn't do Baby Talk this week, which, we all know that those things happen in life where you just forget what day it is or you lose track of time. Or I have the point of view that I don't know what to talk about, which showed up for me this week. I was like, what am I going to actually talk about? What am I going to speak to? There's so many different things to talk about. And so I was like, well, like, what if I just, if for those of you that saw my little streamer that I created, I said, surprise, I'm gonna be surprised by what shows up to talk about. Funny thing is there's been a lot of things that have flitted in and flitted out. Like there's a lot that wants to be out in the world, and I'm happy to be the mouthpiece of it. So again, if you love Baby Talk Tuesdays and I haven't actually touched on a topic that you want more information about, please let me know. You can either drop me a PM um, in Messenger, or you can join the Baby Talk group and ask me there. I really do want to know what people are interested in, what information, um, different tools, techniques, things that I can start to speak to even more. And until I hear those things, there's a lot. There's when I put out into the universe, what what would you like to talk about? The things that actually desire to have a voice start to talk to me. Which is one of the things that created Baby Talk. For a lot of you know this, but for those of you that don't, I was someone who did prenatal and postnatal yoga for years. I naturally started to attend births. I basically was a doula before I even knew what one was. And I started to go and witness what this crazy thing called birth is. And in the process, I learned a lot about women. I learned a lot about babies, and I learned a lot about myself. And so, a lot of what I talk about on Baby Talk is that. And also, you know, speaking to the things that we all have heard about or we all are familiar with, but also speaking to the things that you may not be very familiar with. There's a lot of things out in the birth community um, that are kind of taken as this is how it is. And what I started to really become aware of after years and years and years of attending births, attending all different kinds of births, like obviously no two births are the same, and no two mamas were the same, and no two babies were the same. I actually had a really pretty good run of attending like different babies of same women, which was just an honor and a gift. And it was always just amazing to me how it never shows up the same way twice. Just never shows up the same way twice. And it never shows up how you think it's going to, which um years into being a doula, so I was a doula for about 15 years, and I found the tools of access consciousness. So I've always been a seeker. I've always been the person that's like voraciously reading books, looking into different modalities, looking into how I can be greater, how I can facilitate um, women and babies with greater ease. I'm always seeking, and so when I found the tools of access consciousness, I found them like for personal reasons, especially the access bars. And if you've never heard of what access bars are, you can look it up. You can go to accessconsciousness.com/access bars, and gives you a little bit of information. But what the bars are is they're 32 points on the head. It's a system that exists just as acupuncture is a system that exists, Tai Chi is a system that exists. There's all these different things. And, our bodies are amazing and they go so far beyond the nuts and bolts of them that we've decided they are. And I really came from having a pretty like I had a community health education degree in college, which was basically like preventative medicine. Um, and so I was really indoctrinated into kind of the medical model. And so when I started to attend birth and to work with women during prenatal and postnatal yoga, it really assisted me in like knowing how the body systems work, knowing how the body like organically is set up, how the systems of the body are set up, and so on and so forth. And then when I found the tools of access consciousness and I started to get my own bars run, and I started to run the bars of some of the women that I worked with. And really, when I found access bars, um, and started using them with my birth clients, their experience of their births completely changed. My experiences of their births completely changed. And it was so cool to see that it was a system that actually worked. So there's 32 points on the head that you lightly touch and hold. And in the process of holding those points, basically allows you to start to dissipate and release the electromagnetic charge of all the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions, which for any woman who is pregnant, trying to get pregnant, getting ready for her birth, having her baby, in her postpartum period, um, like there are a million thoughts, feelings, and emotions that come up for women. And one of the things that I always knew, just in my world, and also you run across it like in different, because when I decided I was going to, attend births with women, I studied. And I went to classes and I went to different modalities and I learned different birth practices for, how to birth your baby. And I just absorbed all of this information. And so when I found the bars, what was so wonderful about it is that you really can just lie there and have this relaxing experience. And when you sit up from a bar session, first of all, you're physically more relaxed, you're mentally more relaxed, you have more space, and you have the ability to tap into what's actually true for you. Because one of the things that I experienced as a birth care provider was freaking information overload. And I wasn't even like the one who was growing the baby, who was experiencing those changes in my body every day, or the one who was preparing for birth and preparing to be a mom. Because the thing that you always saw what was up for that woman or that family show up in birth. So if there was a thing going on for that woman, if that woman wasn't sure she was going to be a good mom, for example, if she had, you know, experiences with her own mom and had this fear inside of her that she was going to repeat that behavior or she was going to be something that she didn't want to be as a mom, I always knew it was going to be not necessarily a difficult birth, but a more long drawn out birth, because that woman was going to have to process whatever that was, whatever she was carrying from her relationship with her mother, and like what she thought she was going to be and not be. And and you could do it. I mean, there's lots of different ways that you, I mean, and like I used all of them, really. Like, I was not shy. I was willing to use anything in a birth that was going to help a mom and a baby. But allow them to have the experience be as much as possible that, like, birthing of the woman and the baby, like, into a family. So I always knew birth was something that was this transformative shift. And if a woman is disconnected from it, or she's traumatized through it, or she's not present in a way she could be through it, it does create something different. If a woman is empowered and she's in her own, like, her own skin, and she's choosing what works for her in the moment, that also creates a different result. And so early on, when I started using the tools of access, so bars is a big one, but there's also these really what we call basic tools, you know, asking, being in the question. Um, it sounds pretty simple, but you'd be amazed at how many people aren't actually in the question. And how many women aren't actually in the question. Like, like, a lot of women will, get pregnant. They'll talk to their best friend, go to the best friend's gynecologist, obstetrician, go through that whole process with that obstetrician, kind of follow along with how they do things. Never, ever one time are they encouraged to ask themselves, is this what I would like to choose? Is this the birth that I would like to have? They're absolutely never told that the baby is actually present, cognizantly aware, and conscious of what's going on, actually has a point of view. And that's one of the things that I am so thrilled about being the voice for Baby Talk um, every Tuesday, and whatever else gets created into the future, is that there is more to the story than you've been told. And the things that are there, the things that you can tap into, the things that you actually know, and that your baby know, and that your body knows, and your baby's body knows, like, they're actually there. It's not something in your head. It's not something that's made up. It's not some spiritual woo woo thing. It is truly part of the process. And to the extent a woman can be with that and tap into that and create along with her body and her baby, the richness and the experience of it changes for her, for the baby, for the family, for everyone involved. Now, you'll notice I'm not saying it has to be a particular way. I'm not saying you have to have a particular style of birth to have that. You can have that no matter what occurs. You can have that and be at home with your partner having an unassisted birth. You can have that when you're at a hospital and you've had to have a surgical delivery. It doesn't matter the actual the details of it. As, like I said in the beginning of this Baby Talk, birth never shows up like you think it's going to. Um, Really, this whole experience of um, being a mom, becoming a family, having babies, being aware of babies, being aware of your baby's thought processes and ideas and desires, being aware of your thought processes, your ideas, and your desires. Like, this is something that is really inherent to what it is to be a woman in a lot of ways. And whether you're actually having babies or you're not having babies, it will come up for all women. And so when I found the tools of access consciousness, along with all the experience I had leading up to it, and even have get now every day, and just being able to apply them, being able to be in the question about of like, is this actually what I'd like to choose? Is this actually what's going to work for me, for my body, and for my baby? Um, is there's different possibility? Like just the simple fact of being open to doing something different than other people are doing. Like how many women have their babies the way they do because that's how their girlfriends did it, because that's how their family did it, because that's how their mom did it. And I mean, and you could even start to say like now we're getting, we're getting far enough into the industrial revolution of birth and pregnancy and birth that you can even say how your grandmother did it. And so the idea that you would come to every pregnancy with a fresh perspective of like, okay, fresh slate. What would we like to choose this time? What's going to actually work for us? Where am I at with what I would like to create, and where's my body at, and where's this baby? What does this baby know? What is this baby desiring? Um, because it's one of the only things, like one of the only times, and I don't even know off the top of my head if I could even think of another, like where's there another experience where you are for a period of time like 1,000,000% co-creating something with another being, like literally body within a body. Like it's mind-boggling if you really think about it. We have so normalized birth that we've lost the magic and the miracle of it in a lot of ways. And one of the things that I am so excited about with Baby Talk and excited about with the tools of access consciousness and the ways in which we can open up to what's going on beyond what most people consider, what's going on underneath the surface, behind the curtain, and begin to like even question more into existence. Like what could birth be and pregnancy be that's beyond what any of us have ever considered if we stopped allowing it to be limited by how we think and feel about it and how other people think and feel about it, and also allowing ourselves as women, as care providers of women and babies, to be so influenced by other people's experiences and other people's ideas that we don't actually ask what we know. If you're a woman who's having children, or you're someone especially that chooses to work with women in this body, like, during pregnancy and birth, something. And one of the biggest gifts that I've received over the last few years is the confidence and the trust in myself to actually ask, what do I know? What do I know about this? I wouldn't be choosing it if I didn't know something. There's very little that we do arbitrarily. So, what is it that you all know? Whether you're a woman in the process of having a baby yourself, or you're someone who assists those women, what do you know? And if you were to bring it to the table and you were to start talking about it and you were to put it out into the world, would it create a different possibility on the planet for birth, for babies, for moms, for families? And what would that be? So I invite you. And I have no idea what we'll talk about next week. I know that I will be here, and maybe this month I will just be doing surprise, because honestly, this was an awesome conversation. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And if there's anyone that you know that you get this will contribute to them, please, please, I would be so grateful if you passed on. And we will see you next week. Mwah.